This is a 2017 Fender Telecaster Custom in the orange flake finish. They made these flake finishes for just a few years. Very cool looking. They really stand out. Has that wide range humbucker in the neck, standard tele pickup in the bridge. And first things first, we will just sight down the neck. Very little relief, if any, without even putting a capo on and really measuring the relief. One thing you can do is fret at the 1st and then fret at the 14th with your pinky finger, and then reach all the way down to the 8th fret and just tap lightly and see if you've got any space at all. And there's hardly any here, so I know right off the bat we're going to turn that truss rod. And this has one of those bullet truss rods that sticks out up there at the top, and we're just looking to loosen right now. Maybe there's about a half turn, maybe a tiny bit more, just kind of guessing to put it in a nicer range of relief. We can do that same little trick. Fret at the 14th and at the 1st, and then just tap on the 8th. Yeah, now we got some more. Now we'll measure it and see where we're at. So I don't really want to say I know what the exact perfect amount of relief is. I think it really depends on the guitar and the player. A lot of people start with the idea of 0.010 and then maybe go down a little from there. I like to end up a little bit less relief than that. On the feeler gauge, maybe 0.007, 0.008. Now that I put some more relief into the neck, just check it. Again, I am just fretting with my finger on the 14th fret and then trying to slide that feeler gauge in between the top of the 8th fret and the string. 007 is just barely making it move, so it's going to be 006 here. Yeah, that fits in there. You've got the relief to a place that you kind of like. You want to just take a look at how high the strings are sitting at the 12th fret, and this is real close to 0.060, which is a good spot in my mind. I like 050 to 060. I usually start by just playing on some of the low frets, just listening for buzz, to see if the neck likes where you've got it with that amount of bow and that amount and the action you've got it set at. So no buzzing, the chords don't sound choked. You just want to play all over the neck and see what your ears are telling you and how it feels to your hands. Do some bending. If you're bending and the notes don't sustain, then you probably have a problem. I just polished the frets and was putting on some new strings. It had pretty decent strings on there, but might as well put a brand new fresh set. It's just been sitting for a little while. But I notice in the low E slot, when I move, now these are 9s, so they're not even that big of strings, but I can feel friction, and it's kind of stopping the string when I pull it through there. So I don't like to leave a nut slot like that, because it can hurt your tuning if the string binds at the nut. So without deepening the nut slot too much, I'm just going to try and make it a little wider so the string will slide easily through there. Yeah, there we go. Nice smooth action through the nut slot. I'll make sure this thing stays in tune better. And as a final little step, just taking some sandpaper, folding it in half, and going like this in the nut slot. Cleans out any gunk that might have been there from before. And that was really the step that now it really slides smoothly through there. So I'm just about to get on to intonation on this one, but I did notice a couple little spots with just some fret buzz, like here. It's not even that bad, but when you play on the other frets there, you don't hear the same amount of buzz. And if you take out your fret rocker and check right above that fret, you do find that it rocks just a little bit on that 8th fret, right around where the A string lies. So when you've got a situation where the guitar is playing good all over the neck except maybe one little region, usually I pull out this, I think it's called a fret call or something like that. It's just a piece of brass with a little spot that fits right over the fret. And when I use my rocker here, you want to check all the way across the fretboard, and I see that it's not rocking on the high strings. It starts right around the D, so about half of that fret is just popped up a little high. And you want to very carefully just tap it through that region. And usually, yep, it took that right out, except maybe right here. Now this does not hurt the frets at all, as long as you're careful. Now I've got them flat there on this 8th fret, and I want to check the 9th, because sometimes once the 8th goes down, the 9th is sticking up a little higher. And no, not over the A and the D, maybe just a little bit right there under the E string. And this usually gets rid of any little kind of fret buzz issues. So now I think we're all flat here. And I will play it and see how it sounds. So after pounding down a couple high spots on some frets, it does seem to be a lot better. Not hearing any buzzing in this area. And keep in mind, I'm being ultra picky, because a lot of times little buzzes you hear playing acoustically, it's never going to come through an amp. But I do my setups almost all unplugged, and just like the guitar to sound good unplugged, then I know when it's plugged in it's going to sound even better. Now that this thing's playing good all over the neck, the only thing left to do is intonate. So tune it up open, play that at the 12th fret. It's a little sharp at the 12th fret, so that means tighten, move the saddle back. Only thing to keep in mind with this vintage style bridge is that when you make an adjustment to that one screw, you're affecting the intonation of both the E and the B string. So it's not always perfect. One string may be on and the other slightly off. The E is just about right, the B is a little sharp. And this is what I'm talking about. You want to get it to the closest place where both strings are as close as possible intonated. So B's perfect now, and the E is just about perfect too. This guitar is intonating really nicely. One thing I note is that when you're starting to really get these saddles backed up on these, there can be a significant amount of tension if the strings are still tight, and you have to really crank on the screws back there to turn them. So to make it easier on you and to not ruin that screw, just go bump, bump, and loosen the strings 1 or 2 turns, and you'll be surprised how much easier it is to back the saddle up more and then just tune them right back up and check them. The only other thing I would say is use your ears, not just the tuner. I find that sometimes my ears tell me when something's off, even if the tuner says it's on. Play all over the neck after you've intonated, because you've in essence changed the length of some of the strings, and something may not be playing well that was before. And then plug in, make sure it makes noise. Make sure both pickups are about the same volume level. And it's hard on some guitars like this where you got a humbucker in one position and a single coil in another. The neck pickup sounds maybe just a tad hotter. And we can raise up this bridge pickup a tiny bit. You may not always be able to perfectly match volumes between pickups if one of them is just a lot hotter pickup, but these two are real close anyway.